Hello and welcome to a game of StarSeries. We are watching StarSeries Season 7. It is day number 6 and we have Empire and aSpera here with us. It's Empire's first game of the season actually. They're gonna see if they can get a win in and of course set the tone for them for this tournament as well, as they have a bit of new lineup still with one stand-in, actually always on a fly, someone that we definitely recognize. And aSpera, a team that has been doing fairly well so far. One thing that we know, that I have to note, I mean, you've seen the scores maybe before the game started as well, and you see, teams on top, and they're doing all fairly well, but a lot of the top teams haven't started their season yet, so you have to keep that in mind. Sorry for cat sounds. Of course, I'm not by myself for today. I am joined by Kanaz. Kanaz, welcome back.
Good to be back.
So I actually want to jump out of Empire vs aSpera for a second, because I'm gonna discuss. Or just gonna say which games we're gonna see after this. Virtus.pro Power Rangers is gonna be after this one, but the last match of the day is the one that I'm looking forward to most. Virtus.pro Poseidon.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty exciting match. VP's a team that you kind of have to expect big things from, considering they poached from a lot of other teams to make sort of a new CIS dream team. And Poseidon's been doing really well this far in Season 7, so... Yeah, that's definitely the game of the day.
I want to give a heads up to people, if you don't really are able to give your this game your full attention, make sure you at least get that game your full attention, because that should be a really great one to see. But Empire vs aSpera, also definitely one that I'm very curious about, especially how Empire does. Empire, I have seen them before. They have, of course, played for EMS, which casted a few games off on Monday, and we're gonna see if they are strong there as well. The match that we saw from Empire on Monday was up against a Tinker, and they all bought blade mails. It was that type of game. And then just running into the Martian machines and killing the Tinker with that. It was very funny. It was a Night Stalker, they ended it fairly early. This game though, they have picked up a Nature's Prophet, so that maybe indicates a little bit more late game, and then Bane picked up, that's normally a bit of an anti-carry matchup. I'm not really sensing any kind of time pressure coming off from Empire here, but we'll see. Bans are fairly standard with an IO and a Batrider. OD and Darkseer removed as well with the Doom pickup and Visage. No real surprises. I think we can consider Doom a fairly standard pick now, because, I mean, if you have watched Starladder for the last couple of days, which you probably have, then Doom has been a very familiar face for you.
Yeah, it's somewhat weird to think of Doom as a standard pick again all of a sudden, but teams have been picking up quite a bit. They've been sort of running him in a carry-ish role. A couple times he was sort of off-carry with a lot of auras. So we'll see exactly what their plan is for aSpera here in this particular game, but he definitely can do a lot of work. Actually, I think 2 of the games we cast together, we had Doom going up against Nature's Prophet solo versus solo. And I think Doom came out ahead both times, so maybe that's the plan aSpera have with this.
You're right. We've seen Doom in both off-lane and safe lane. And I think the times that he was up against Nature's Prophet, normally it was on Doom on the safe lane and Nature's Prophet on the off lane, but yeah, he has been having a pretty big impact in the games lately, and of course, as soon as he gets level 6, he's normally able to get a kill out of that, especially if he's up against a Nature's Prophet. So indeed here again, we're going to see if Empire is going to have the same matchup here. So far though, I mean, both Doom and Nature's Prophet don't really give that much away about what you're gonna do with your lineup. Like Doom, we already said, he can play safe lane, he can play off lane. It's up for grabs. I mean, it's up in the air. Nobody really knows, so Empire probably doesn't know either. So they're banning out a Timbersaw. Empire just banning out probably heroes that they just don't really want to face. It's just annoying. On top of that, Timber is actually fairly decent up against Nature's Prophet, because his Sprout is worth nothing anymore, and of course he can counter push fairly successful as well. And we've got aSpera banning out the Dragonite and the Weaver, so mid removed, and as well as a Weaver for carry potential, perhaps. I mean, Weaver also can be deployed in different lanes.
Yeah, neither team has given anything away as of yet, and you're right, Timbersaw is pretty good against Nature's Prophet. Sprout actually ends up hurting you most of the time. It gives trees in the middle of the lane for Timbersaw to chain to, and then he can just get in the fight that much faster. So definitely a hero they don't want to deal with in this particular game. But neither team has given away anything as to what they want to do with their heroes. Doom is so kind of versatile in how teams want to play him lately that you can't even necessarily say, well, he's going to be their safe lane farmer. In fact, most of the time, that's not how we're seeing him.
Exactly, so it's really unclear. Empire also taking their time for this ban. We already had aSpera taking a lot of their bonus time away though, only having 36 seconds left. And Empire is not even taking yet in, or not taking any more into their bonus time. They have banned out the Chen in the end. Chen and Visage, pretty decent combination in terms of ganking potential for the two. I'm still expecting aSpera to be able to pick up a good support though, because we have so many still left in the pool. I mean, Rubik is still in. A great one to be up with a Nyx Assassin or with a Visage. We have seen Sand King Visages, Nyx Assassin Visages, Rubik Visages. I mean, Visages can be basically combined with everything.
Yeah, there's so many supports in the pool, it's hard to really just ban out all of the ones they're likely to pick. They take out the Chen mostly because they don't want to deal with a strong jungler, I think. And that's certainly fair. Giving them a support that can jungle so effectively and make sure he gets some farm that way while still being able to have a presence in the lane is something that's often difficult to deal with. Also might be a sign that maybe they're not thinking about going the aggressive trailing right now. We'll see if things work out in that particular way, but they do have the opportunity to pick. Both teams can pick up pretty much any support they want at this point.
Yeah, there's barely any supports banned out, so anything up for grabs. And Empire again taking a lot of their time. And the thing is, they had a ban followed up by a pick, so they like all this time is purely for Empire, and all this time, of course, has been given to aSpera now as well. So they should not be needing any bonus time unless they're going to be so confused by the Alchemist pickup that they are just needing that extra time. I mean, Alchemist still in the pool. 2 weeks ago, you would see him banned out in one of the first ban rounds. Right now, picked up in the second pick round. We also still have the Lifestealer in the pool. I mean, often you want to have Doom as well as Nature's Prophet in a dual carry, dual core lineup. So Alchemist, Nature's Prophet is already fairly solid there. And I'm still expecting another core to be picked up next to the Doom, depending on what they want to run in their mid lane, of course, because the mid lane can turn into one of those kind of cores as well. But they go for Crystal Maiden, so that's a very aggressive early game support. Crystal Maiden, a support that gets picked up because she is so strong in the early game. Like later game she'll fall off the map a little bit, but in the early game I'm thinking aSpera might be going for an aggressive tri-lane.
Yeah, I think that's something that we've seen quite a bit with these Dooms, is they've been solo in the safe lane, and then sending some sort of aggressive tri-lane to the other side of the map to try and keep pressure on whoever's farming for the opposing team. So definitely something they could be thinking about here, and probably are with this Doom pick, if we kind of figure that teams are doing that as the new standard method of playing him. Crystal Maiden Visagers definitely heroes they can try and run an aggressive tri-lane with. It's somewhat risky because Crystal Maiden is so slow and frail. You can end up getting kind of in a weird position up in that tri-lane, but she does have very powerful spells, and that's often what you want.
And we've got, by the way, a Puck pickup, so that's our mid laner, Scandal Puck, very enjoyable to watch. Does mean that aSpera still has two strong heroes to pick up against the Puck, though. I mean, they might not even, they don't have to decide it right now, because, I mean, you can only ban out one. I'm talking about Queen of Pain and Templar Assassin. Both heroes are heroes that Sharvik plays a lot. Actually, Storm's still in as well. All three heroes are able to be going up against that Puck. Maybe Storm a little bit less because of his silence, of course, but definitely heroes that Sharvik likes to play, and that would do okay in the lane up against the Puck. I didn't even mention Shadow Fiend, but they go for the Shadow Fiend. Interesting to see that, because I kind of was expecting a bit more aggressive pickup for Sharvik. We'll see how he does up against the Puck. I mean, you can of course dodge the raises if you're on point, and in theory it should be... Actually, it should be fairly even. At the start, maybe Puck a little bit of an upper hand. At the end of the laning phase, Shadowfiend a little bit of an upper hand. Of course, due to him getting souls, assuming that he is going to get some denies and last hits. And it is the Lifestealer still that gets banned out last by Empire.
Yeah, worst case scenario, Shadowfiend's on the Radiant side if he ends up mid here. You can kind of abandon lane, do some stacking in the jungle. It's a lot easier on the Radiant side because you have easy access to that easy camp and the one large camp. So they could certainly do that with Shadowfiend if it ends up being a little too difficult, but Puck really won't be able to just completely kill Shadowfiend in lane unless he does something silly, takes more harass than he needs to.
And on top of that, I mean, you've got yourself a Doom, and that's going to be unhappy for Puck. I mean, the Doom targets, or the targets that Doom has in terms of who is he going to put Doom on, Alchemist, yeah, he will hit anyway, so it's not that big of an issue unless you know that he can't pop his BKB, in which case that's a pretty big deal, of course, if you hit it before, if he has a BKB before he pops it. but a Puck is going to be a pretty favorable target for Doom to Doom, because I mean Puck just offers a lot of control with his silence and his Dream Coil, and if he can't have that, then that means that Shadow Fiend is going to be able to do what he wants. Crystal Maiden and Visage won't be dropping straight away, and it's going to be a lot easier for aSpera to actually take a team fight. And talking about team fights, in theory both teams have got a fairly okay-ish amount of team fight, but no real clear winner if there is actually a 5-on-5 fight. Both teams have got some team fight abilities, and hey, look at that, still the Storm Spear for Sharvik. That makes a lot more sense, but this is kinda greedy still. A lot of pressure on Crystal Maiden and Visage in this game, I'd say. And Keeper of the Light, of course, for the last one for Empire.
I'm wondering if they're going to send the Shadow Fiend or the Doom in the tri-lane. I kind of think it's going to be Shadow Fiend, which is unusual. I guess we'll see what they end up doing with it, but this is definitely a very greedy lineup. The Storm in the mid lane is not something I was expecting to see once the Shadow Fiend and Doom were already picked up.
Yeah, it looks like Doom, he picked up a Quelling Blade as well as a Stout Shield. There is a potential, I mean I don't like it, and it's slow, but he can go on the offlane / jungle.
Yeah, he could just jungle basically from the start, and with that build, it's looking like that might be the case. Yeah, it's not particularly fast. If you get completely left alone, it gets okay. Devour does give you additional gold starting at level 1, but it's not ideal. So maybe they abandoned their initial plan and decided they could use Doom in this method just fine, or maybe this was their plan from the very start.
Yeah. I do like Sharvik on this hero better than on Shadow Fiend though. It fits him more, it fits his playstyle more. And this one he's actually able to dive and get kills and be ballsy, like pun intended, but just be able to have a lot more fun, I think, in this on this hero. Go Audio on the Shadow Fiend kind of fits. Go Audio definitely the hard carry, and also at hard carry, so just we'll be getting good souls there. But yeah, we said it. It's gonna be tough until Storm Spirit is level 6 to be able to keep Empire off, especially if they're gonna run an aggressive trial in here, which might be the case still. Let's see who is playing what though. If we're going over everybody, as Empire is scouting out the Radiant jungle, we have the stand-in. It is always gonna fly for Empire. Empire still with a 4-man lineup so far, like the official lineup, and always gonna fly standing in for them. Empire, by the way, who were set to reveal their lineup on Tuesday, have made a new announcement that they don't really have their 5th just yet, and they will continue looking for a suiting one and will play with a stand-in until they have found someone that can really help them out. We've got Mag on the offlane playing the Nature's Prophet, no surprise there. We have Silent playing his Alchemist, and he's actually gonna try to throw some punches in Inquisitor's face, who managed to pick up a haste rune, by the way. In the mid lane we have Scandal, he'll be playing his Puck, and that leaves Vanskor, the last one. He will be playing the Bane. It's one of his signature heroes, I believe. So he'll be supporting the Alchemist, as that looks to be a safe tri-lane after all.
Yeah, did you go over aSpera?
Nope.
You mentioned Gaudio, okay. Yeah, Gaudio is going to be playing the Shadow Fiend down in that safe tri-lane farming. We're going to have the supports Stompa on the Crystal Maiden, and Zazu on the Visage. Mid lane is going to be Sharvik on the Storm Spirit, and finally off lane will be Inquisitor on the Doom. It looks like he's probably going to run away now, since he sees there is a defensive tri-lane up there, and doesn't want to deal with it on the Doom, which is completely reasonable. Unfortunately for him, the jungle is kind of blocked at least a little bit.
Yeah, very successful, I think, for Empire to slow that down. I mean, Doom is already a fairly slow jungler to begin with, so it's going to be tough on him. Unless there is going to be a lot of supports stacking camps, and then he just has to get a Wildkin and then get lucky. But the downside is, when we Wildkins, not on the map just yet, so we'll see if they get that. Also, Nature's Prophet, by the way, rotating into the jungle, and that basically means that this mid lane is going to be our only player versus player lane, and it is also not really that big of a, like, it's not really that entertaining of a lane. I mean, Scandal won't be able to kill off the Storm unless Storm makes a mistake. Storm won't be able to kill off Scandal unless Scandal makes a mistake. And we're gonna probably see only action until there's either a gank from supports, which I'm actually expecting from aSpera more than from Empire, though you can't really gank a Puck. It's kind of tough. You can gank him, but it's just tough. You have to have the timing exactly right. And well, I'm not really expecting a gank coming up from Empire just yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, they don't even have particularly good heroes to gank Puck with, so it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Crystal Maiden's okay, but Visage doesn't really do much of anything early on. He doesn't have an actual hard disable, at least until he gets those familiars at level 6, and it's probably going to be quite some time, and even then it's somewhat difficult to actually land stuns with familiars on a Puck. So Puck should be pretty safe in the mid lane. I think Storm Spirit's going to be a little more vulnerable to getting picked off. But you never know with Storm. You can go in on him and think that you almost have it, and then suddenly take a ton of damage. His burst potential is very high.
Yeah, I like Vanscore. Well, I feel kind of sad for him because, I mean, he just walked past an enemy ward. Basically, they saw where he was moving, and on top of that, there's already a flying courier up on aSpera, so they won't be able to abuse walking courier and see if they can get a kill on that, well, it's not donkey, badger. But yeah, he wasted a little bit of time there. We'll see if it's gonna hurt him later on. I mean, if you're having one of these farm-heavy battles, which it basically is, we're gonna see, or watch out for Hand of Midas's and Grievous Greed. I mean, Silent has already picked up 2 levels in Grievous Greed. Has left the other one open, so depending on what he needs first, he'll be having either Uncivil Concoction or the Acid Spray, but he is gonna be, or he should be, ahead in terms of farm. We are also gonna watch out for the support levels, because that's of course a big deal here as well. For Visage, it's a big deal to get himself to level 6, and on the other supports, of course, Bane has a pretty important ultimate as well, and we'll see who gets there first. But, I mean, that's the best way that we can look at this game right now. Compare the farm. Yay.
Yeah, both teams are going pretty big on farm. Storm taking some damage mid lane.
It might actually be first blood. One more hit needed. Can Scandal do it? Maybe. Yeah. Whoa, no. Oh, wow, that bottle. Just in time. Scandal not able to get the kill. Will be able to catch the rune, though. And the haste rune. No fun one for Storm to be up against. For sure. Hanamite is now ready up on the Alchemist, so he'll be even further ahead, and that means that aSpera has to try and make something happen. They already tried to push on the tier 1 tower a little bit, but Keeper of Light is there. He'll have his Illuminates and he'll try to slow the push down. But that's gonna be, I mean, that Alchemist with the Hanamidas, it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be scary as fast.
Yeah, he's gonna get a lot of farm. I'm somewhat surprised that they're just gonna let that happen, but I guess with what heroes they ended up picking, they don't really have a great option for going up against it. Their tri-lane doesn't necessarily win if they hit gone aggressive.
Sharfik, the Dream Girl's there, the Vortex still there. Sharfik, you better run now. Nope, that's gonna be first blood.
First blood, it shall be.
Scandal getting it.
I'm not sure what happened there, why Sharfik went for that.
He kinda had to. Okay, I guess he was either dead. He was dead anyway with the Dream Coil up on him. He just shouldn't be there, have been there for the Dream Coil, but when he was up on him, he would have died regardless of what he did, so just try to do as much as damage as he could. Maybe.
Yeah, he's been playing very aggressive in the lane for quite some time now, so it's not particularly surprising that Scandal was able to set up that kill. Just hitting level 6 first is pretty much all the advantage he needed to be able to do that. So First Blood does go the way of Empire in the mid lane.
Yeah, surprise. Well, actually, I mean, it's still pretty decent for Scandal. I mean, all of a sudden, he is level 7 and Storm Spirit is still level 5. That's a pretty big difference there to have. Of course, it doesn't really shut down Sharfik's farm that much, and he'll still be able to be have quite an impact in the game. Oh, that's a big deal, though. That's a big deal. Always want to fly, managing to deny the tier 1 tower to 4 heroes who are trying to get it. And if you're taking down an early tower, you're doing that because you want to get ahead and farm, and with a denied tower, that's just not going to be as easy. Very important tower to deny.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised that they let Keeper of the Light just like walk up and deny that. Especially Shadow Fiend does so much more physical damage than he does. Should be pretty easy for him to snag that last hit, but it's a great deny from Always Want to Fly, and it does deny them from quite a bit of that early gold that they're probably really wanting. They're going to have to make something happen eventually, because you can't just leave Alchemist to farm up in that top lane, especially when he rushes Hand of Midas. You know that his farm is accelerating so very quickly, and they're going to have a response eventually.
Yeah, Sharfik now sitting on 32 last hits for 4, with the Puck sitting on 36 for 8, so the difference is not that big. We already saw Sharfik take a bit of an excursion into the Dire Jungle. I mean, he's level 6. He probably wants to try and make something happen with his support on the other team. I mean, we still have Bane sitting at level 4, Keeper of Light sitting at level 4 as well. I think he can try and make something happen if he just knows where someone is, which is not the case, of course, at the moment. The question will be, when does aSpera make a move? Because are they gonna just sit around and wait until that Alchemist is big and tanky and maybe has a Shadow Blade as well? Because I don't think they have the luxury to do so, unless they feel strong enough that they think that Inquisitor can turn that around in his Doom. Perhaps they only wanted to go on when Doom actually has his level 6, because he is still level 5.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems is they don't have that much damage right now. If Alchemist gets his ultimate off when they try and gank him, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to take him down, especially with Bane up there just to try and secure an escape path for him. They're going on Doom in the top lane.
Yeah, Silent's already charging up his stun. Gets away with throwing it out though. And is actually just going to try to push the tower down. I'm not expecting a deny to be possible here unless aSpera actually commits to this fight.
Yeah, they would need at least one more TP, if not two. And I don't think they're really in a position where they're able to do that. Shadow Fiend doesn't want to be coming up to this top lane quite yet. Fortify might set it up.
Big chance. There's still Siege Creep hitting up on the tower though. We'll see. 10 HP. Boom! Deny. So towers are even once again as Storm finds himself a Nature's Prophet in the jungle. Let's see if we can get something going here. We have a Vortex here as well. Should be a kill. One more hit needed. Zap! And there we go. In comes Vanscourt though. He has got a Nightmare. No more mana left up. On Sharvik, this is gonna be a bad exchange if he goes down for it, and it looks like he will die. And Alchemist, that, ooh, I thought he was gonna take the kill with that, but I guess it's only level 1 on the Unstable Concoction. But Scandal in the end with a kill, that's not a favorable trade for aSpera at all.
No, Sharvik kind of used more mana than he really could afford to get that kill on the Nature's Prophet. And once you do that, you're kind of stuck out in the middle of nowhere. You have to expect that someone's rotating around.
I'm thinking that Always Wanna Fly dies. What about you? Any bets?
I mean, he's got like a second left. Is that a raise coming off? Yeah, he's gonna die.
Already
That's
one
a raise.
Yeah, already one raise casted. He's casting a second. I think it's in time. 0.8 seconds, right?
Yeah, it'll be. It doesn't take a second to shadow raise.
Yeah.
If it did, it would be a very, very poor skill.
Isn't this a nice
Yeah.
one?
Always Wanna Fly is. Can you be polite?
I doubt it.
And don't kill me. No, that's probably not gonna happen. Yeah, Always Wanna Fly is in a lot of trouble here. This race should hit.
Yeah, this should be having the kill. It's gonna be an important kill for Guadio as well. I mean, he is the one supposed to outcarry Alchemist that has a Hand of Midas at 6 minutes. And has already almost completed a Shadow Blade. Well, almost. He needs still 13 on the gold, but still, he is 2k, almost, well, 1.5k higher than the Shadow Fiend on net worth, which is a lot. I have to say though, I mean, there is of course a Hand of Midas, which right now doesn't really offer that much in terms of his net worth. Doesn't really live up to what he gets for the item yet. But it will. It will. Scary stuff. So how do you think aSpera should play this one?
It's really hard to say. I think aSpera want to get aggressive. They have like this 3 carry lineup, and it's hard to get aggressive early with this. I'm just kind of surprised by how they're playing this. When you have this kind of lineup, you're going to have to get farm on a lot of heroes, obviously, but you can't just give someone who farms a ton all the space in the world to try and do that. Alchemist is just going to come online so quickly because he was able to sit up in that top lane and free farm, get the Midas. And I was even rushing into that Shadow Blade. He's going to have it at like 10 minutes? Maybe a little bit later than that, but that's still very fast. And once he gets aggressive, I don't know if aSpera is still going to be kind of in it. Storm was also kind of a weird pick, I think. He's not particularly good against Puck. We see that Scandal went the maxing Waning Rift build in the mid lane. That's just because it's so effective against Storm. And it's kind of been the position Sharvik's in. Puck just walks up to him and silences him, and he's sitting there like, I can't do much of anything.
Yeah. I mean, we saw for a second, we talked for about the mid laners that were still in, right? You had the Queen of Pain that was still in, Templar Assassin and Storm, and we mentioned all 3 of those. And Storm indeed was the least effective one purely because of the silence. So you kind of have to wonder why Storm instead of one of the other 2 who are both not banned out. Perhaps it's because Sharvik loves playing Storm? Because he does. it is one of his hero or the heroes that he plays a lot of, as we are gonna see always want to fly die here on the bottom lane.
Yeah, immediately the Shadow Ray is already in motion.
Yeah.
Storm. Maybe it's because they want someone who can initiate effectively, just kind of get in and start these fights, maybe even at his own expense. That could be the plan. We'll see if it ends up working out that way. If he draws attention away from Shadow Fiend in particular, Shadow Fiend could do a lot of damage. So it might just be kind of a distraction method.
It could work out. I mean, there's a tri-core in a way for aSpera with and Doom and Shadow Fiend and Storm. Doom, however, is also going to take a long time before he's actually online, as you said. I mean, he's building towards drums right now, which is awesome, but other than that, he's got Tranquils, and you can't really count on him in fights just yet, apart from throwing out a Doom. That's it. Here comes a Vortex, they go for the Alchemist. They're actually able to... He's able to solo kill him off. That's kind of a good pickup for aSpera. Wow.
Yeah, Alchemist isn't particularly tanky when he doesn't have his ult on, and it was just ending pretty much as he got picked off there, so they do get the kill. Now, maybe some more trouble.
Fiend's grip there, and they just Prophet ult flying through. That's going to be a dead Storm.
Fight to the last breath.
Hey, fight to the last breath. Sorry.
And Bane is particularly good against Storm with his ult, because it drains mana as well, so even if you don't end up getting the kill, being able to drain a lot of Storm's mana often can really hinder him being able to do anything.
Yeah, as Crystal Main thought she could get some fast experience in the mid lane. But one Illuminate to send her on her way right into the hands of the Nature's Prophet, and no hope for her after that one. She is of course level 6, so she did get that level up. And I think everybody is level 6 at the moment, all the supports that is. Keeper of the Light, level 6. We do have Bane now level 7 after killing off Sharfik. I mean, no surprise there. Sharfik was level 9 when he died. That's a pretty good pickup there in terms of experience.
Yeah, it's just little things going in Empire's favor. They have a slight lead now, even though the kill score is very close, and the towers are also even. Both towers were denied, so that's kind of a wash. It's just still a very slow game. Both teams have so many heroes that really want a ton of farm.
Yeah, and they're gonna not try and force anything out until they have it, which is indeed making for that slow game. I'm hoping that Puck will be able to make something happen soon, but I guess for him, Scandal is gonna be waiting for a Blink Dagger. Shadowblade is the item that we're waiting up for Silent, which is of course slightly delayed because of the death he had. Dream Coil up on Sharfik. He's able to ball lighting himself away though, and will be getting himself out of there. Now Alchemist will end up stunning himself. But I mean, also Doom probably doesn't want to do anything just yet. He has drums, still with the Tranquils, but what item could he be waiting for right now? What do you think that he wants to wait for before he is going to be ready to fight?
I think maybe he's going to transition those Tranquil Boots into Vlad's. I think that's an item we've seen quite a bit, just like stacking the auras on the Doombringer. And that's certainly a thing that could work out okay. They don't really have a melee hero. Puck is getting picked off while I'm talking.
Visage helping out, and I always want to fly in a lot of trouble. Gets an Urn Charge, but doesn't look like he wants a chase. No more mana, and a TP of course incoming from the Bane that has got Fiend's Grip up again. That's not really something that you want to walk into. But yeah, you're right, we've actually seen quite a few Dooms also going for Mechanism. I mean, you're talking about aura builds, Mechanism definitely falls into that category. Having a mech and a Vlad's and an Assault Cuirass, I mean, depending on how late the game is, of course. It's going to be something that Inquisitor perhaps wants to try and get for himself. As we have got Go Audio going for first item, BKB. I like and dislike it at the same time, because the thing about if you have an early BKB is that you won't really have a BKB later on in the game that has a lot of seconds left on it, and that might hurt you quite a bit. But it will allow you to fight earlier. The question is the rest of aSpera on the same line as he is in terms of when are they going to be ready to fight? As we have a smoke up for Empire, and they're going to try if they can find someone. In the meantime, it's already Nature's Prophet that gets picked up though. Alchemist TP's in, there's no more mana left on Sharfik, and from the bottom lane, from the south, in comes the rest. In comes the Dream Coil up on the two highest priority targets. One already dead, and Go Audio will be the next one. Nicely done, Scandal with a double kill. 5 to 6, Nature's Prophet dying for two of the cores of aSpera. Not something that aSpera is going to be happy with.
Yeah, that's just them going out really, really far, and they end up getting punished for it, which isn't really a surprising outcome. Now they're trying to push this tower mid. They need to be careful. There's not a lot of chance they're going to get that down before Empire are able to get in range. Fortunately, the tower doesn't get in deny range, so they end up not really getting too much out of anything with that move around a lot, and now they're kind of on the back foot again with those two heroes going down.
Yeah, and Vanscore, he has got his Fiend Script up again, of course, as we have got a counter happening.
No mana.
No mana, but I'm expecting. I was expecting already. Always want to fly to give him some mana, considering he's like the mana battery, Diego. And well, there we have it. He has got mana again for the Fiend Script. Let's see if he's gonna put it to use. If he can find Sharfik again with that, that's of course great. But Sharfik is actually trying to get some extra farm here on the top lane. I mean, they can't just try to run around and try and do stuff as well. That was just a brain sap, and now he's out of mana again.
Yeah, he keeps walking up and using Brain Sap on the Visage Familiars, which actually just one-shots them because it's pure damage. So Zazu's having a little bit of trouble this game with his Familiars. They're just basically feeding Bane additional gold with what's going on thus far. Yeah, it's Empire still gonna try and be farming, creating space for Alchemist wherever they can. There's been a lot of Doom trying to farm. He is going for the mech, you're right, as he's picking it up now, but it still seems like it's going to be a while before they can really take big team fights.
Oh, go audio, and the Fiend Script, the smoke gank was there. And it looks like there's nothing really that aSpera can do. Stompa tries to cast a new ultimate, but won't be able to do it. There goes the Keeper of the Light still though, so at least they get something. Scandal goes down, Sharfik comes in, gets a double kill. Sharfik saving the day, 3-for-1. Shadowfiend might have dropped. But in the end, 2 supports and a puck being traded for him. Not even a bad score at all.
Yeah, they go for the smoke gank into the Radiant Jungle, but they can't see anyone on the map. So there's always a chance that you run into way too many people. And now Storm might find Alchemist, but he does have the Shadow Blade.
He goes for Mag though. And the Urn Charge already up on there. Eats a tree, gets himself out.
When you strip away his leaves,
Yeah, that was good. A little play by Sharfik there too. Just mini jump on the Storm Spirit ult to break that one tree, get the sight. I think he would have died from the Urn Charge anyways, but you just want to make sure.
In the meantime, also Sharfik scouts out that there is indeed a bit of a camp there for the Ancients. Ready to be taken out. Sharfik actually is not done just yet. He goes for the Bane. He's diving past a tier 1 tower at the moment, waiting for his team to maybe help him out. Team not there though, as one of the Familiars goes down from Zizou. We do have no Doom online for the Doom himself. But he probably doesn't run a risk too much anyway in terms of fighting, because he is so close to his mechanism right now, and they could really use that if they are going to try and continue taking these fights that Empire actually is seemingly forcing out right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighting going on all of a sudden. The teams were very passive, and they didn't even get any particular item up before they decided it was time to just kind of 5v5 brawl all over the map. Alchemist is still trying to farm. He's doing pretty well in terms of net worth, still about 1500 in front of the Shadowfiend, but he's kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what his next item is going to be, if it's going to be something like AC, if he just wants to go for the BKB at this point, so because there's quite a bit of magic damage on the side of aSpera.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I remember talking about Alchemist Farm like maybe 5 minutes ago, and we said, oh, he is 1.5k gold ahead of the highest of aSpera, and he still is, so he hasn't really grown that much in terms of farm. Also, he has been moving around quite a bit though, in terms of trying to find some kills with his team perhaps. And he's actually gonna try to find it right now. There's no detection here. He goes for Sharfik, throws out the stun. In comes a Fiend Script by Sharfik as well, but Inquisitor coming in with the Doom up on Bane to start with. Vortex up on Silent. Silent drops. Vanscore, will he be next? It looks like he might be. No way out for him. Maybe getting denied, but no. Double kill for Sharfik. Puck comes in though with a Dream Call up on the 2 supports on the backside. Already one picked off, but in comes the Soul Assumption, and also Scandal will go down 3-for-1. A Crystal Maiden dying for Alchemist Puck and a support Bane. Another great trade for aSpera.
Yeah, I don't know why Scandal went in there, to be honest. He like dove into all 4 of them to kill off the Crystal Main. He almost got Zizou, maybe that was the plan, but even then he's still probably in trouble here with Storm and Doom chasing him down. And so he just ends up trading 1-for-1 with a support, which is not ideal. Great fight for aSpera, and it's just Empire kind of trying to be aggressive when they're not really in the best position to do so.
And Go Audio now also having a BKB ready, was able to buy that earlier. So this is starting to look like aSpera has been managing to find their feet. I mean, we had them like, maybe a little bit shaky, of course, when Alchemist got his hand of Midas so early, and the farming battle didn't really go exactly as they planned, with the early tower getting denied and such. But the gold graph now back at the 0 line, experience graph though, in favor of aSpera, with the last couple of fights going their way. And look at Goadio with an Invis rune, he's just waiting for someone to show up. Okay, he's a very impatient guy, decided to go for last hit instead. And go last hit at tower is always nice. No, nobody there to deny it this time. Easy gold.
Yeah, it's really difficult for them to deny it from the Shadow Fiend. He hits the hardest on the map right now in terms of just raw physical damage by a large margin. So unless he's kind of gets tricked or messes up, it should be easy for him to get that last hit all the time. Visage Familiar, you're going to scout out that the entire Empire team is hanging out near the Ancients. And probably enough for aSpera to just back off, and it looks like it is.
Yeah, Roshan, of course, is the one that is under question here. Who is gonna take it? We are at that time when every team, both teams, can actually take down the Roshan. Especially, of course, with the Shadow Fiend having his Necromastery there, when they just Prophet's Treants helping out. But who is gonna take it? For now, neither team will be risking it. I mean, that's basically the question. Are you willing to risk a team fight for it? And of course, not just a team fight, but a team fight where you know that you are not gonna be having the best positioning if you are taking the Roche, because you're gonna all be clumped up. And Sharfik is actually out of mana, but will be able to get away. Mag not able to catch up with the Sprout, for example. Empire just dealing with the results of a pushed out lane.
Yeah, I think that was aSpera trying to go for Roshan actually, down in that bottom lane. But once the Familiars spotted out Empire's team, both teams pretty much knew that it was about time, and that basically the Radiant have a little bit of an advantage in this game just because of Shadow Fiend and Zora. But not going to be able to do it with kind of both teams hanging out in that general region.
Very true. We have, by the way, got Doom going for the Assault Cuirass by the looks of it. So that will be more auras. I mean, no Vlads yet, but more auras is always better. And Assault Cuirass will probably be next. Inquisitor Inquisitor had a bit of a slow start. I mean, he was in a jungle. A jungle Doom does not have a fast start. But he hasn't died yet. He's got 4 assists. And he has actually been able to scrap up quite nicely. He is second highest for his team right now in terms of net worth, which is pretty impressive. In the meantime, Silent gets himself some extra gold. And a BKB ready, but also, of course, Ancient stack goes his way. Do you think aSpera knows that this is going on, especially with the Familiars again scouting it out? The question is, do they really want to go in? Like, what's the best way to go in? They can't really walk up the high ground and expect to take a fight.
Yeah, I think they're aware of it. Sharfik spied out that they were stacking Ancients earlier, so they're probably slightly, at least, aware that they've seen. They're doing a lot of stacking over near those Dire Ancients. But it is difficult to go up there. There's a choke point and you're going into high ground. The Familiars give you a little bit of vision, but with Bane constantly just brain sapping them, it's somewhat difficult to just say, oh, okay, we're going to toss up those Familiars up there and they'll give us vision, because they're dying basically instantly.
Yeah.
So, they'll try and contest it as best they can, but I don't think they're going to have a lot of success.
We'll see, we have a bit of roaming going on. Empire moving towards the bottom lane. We still have a tier 1 tower standing there. Of course, all tier 1 towers on the side of Empire have already been picked up, so there's 2 tier 1 towers still standing on the side of aSpera, which is basically a bit of extra gold that Empire can pick up if they find the right positioning, find the right timing. And aSpera is having as job to just try and prevent that and trying to counter it, because they really want to fight by the looks of it. I mean, they've got their BKB up, they've got their mechanism. They're pretty close to the Bloodstone for Sharfik, and actually they're gonna go again up in the high ground, seeing if there's an initiation for Sharfik. That's all they want. That's all they're waiting for. They go for Silent. He has got a BKB, but no time to turn it on, and a Doom before he can turn it on. The Illuminate will fly through, does quite a bit of damage, but not enough. Silent will end up dropping. Vanscore tries to brain step himself to life, won't be able to do so. 2 heroes dead on the side of Empire. And 0 for aSpera, who gladly will take the remainings of the Ancient stack with a couple of big animals still left standing. In the meantime, Sharfik, not just done, goes for a Vortex up and always wanna fly, who is gonna go down, and that's gonna be Scandal jumping in. Nice silence for him. He's able to orb himself out though. Will be enough. Get slowed there. Sharfik is out of mana, but it doesn't matter. The Frostbite is there and the kill is there as well. 4 dead for 0 in favor of aSpera. Again, Nature's Prophet, the only one that tries to make something out of this by split pushing on the tier 2 tower. But this is Roshan for aSpera if they choose to go for it.
Yeah, I think they should be able to take Roshan very, very easily right now, especially with Puck going to be down for about 30 seconds. Scandal is pretty necessary to any team fight coming out from Empire right now. And that fight just went brilliantly for aSpera. They're going to be able to get this Roshan, they get to take away the entire Dire Side Ancient stack, they get that tier 2 tower. And it looks like they're going to be able to defend their tier 2 top, which is also somewhat surprising from the Nature's Prophet split push. So they pretty much just get everything in the world from that fight. 4 for 0, and thousands of gold off the map. It's really good for aSpera.
It's insanely good. Empire slightly miscalculating that aSpera was actually still hanging around and ready to go. I mean, they hang around there for quite a while, mind you. I mean, they gave up quite a bit of farm to actually take that fight, but in the end, it is so worth it. The gold graph jumps up. Whoa, long zip. Where are you going? Going for always wanna fly. Level 8. Keeper of the Light with the mechanism tries to stay alive up against a level 15 Storm Spirit. Good luck with that. One more hit. Actually, no. Nightmare will get them denied. Nicely done. Nicely done, Vanscore. Well, okay, Keeper of the Light still dies, but a deny is, of course, always better than a kill.
Yeah, Sharvik still gets the earn charges. I think maybe that was what he was looking for there. Just going for the easy kill. He was completely out at that point. But, yeah, it's still Keeper of the Light down, and with him down, it's easier to push, just because of his obvious counter-pushing potential with the Illuminate just channeling that through these creep waves. So they should be able to get this tier 2 tower basically completely for free in the mid lane now. I can't imagine Scandal is going to go for something as aggressive as what he just did in the bottom lane and potentially even get himself picked off again.
Yeah, that's another tier 2 tower. One left standing on the side of Empire, who is now slowly losing a bit of the control that they had this game. We actually also have Shadow Fiend higher on net worth now than the Alchemist, which in theory should never ever happen until very late in the game. If you have got an Alchemist that has a Hand of Midas and Max Grievel's Greed as first one. He is, however, able to take down a tier 1 tower on the bottom lane before anybody else could TP in to try and stop that from happening. So that's going to be giving him some extra gold. But it's still not enough to triumph over the Shadow Fiend, who is actually starting to build towards his butterfly.
Yeah, it's starting to get pretty scary when your Alchemist that you pretty much gave complete free farm to, he had Midas, Grievel's Greed like you said, and he's just not really farming as well anymore. He doesn't have any big items up, and he really needs to. The BKB is nice and all for being able to fight. There's a lot of magic damage on the side of aSpera, but if he just gets doomed at the start of a fight, the BKB doesn't ever do anything. So we'll see how it ends up working out if he's able to BKB, run in, and get a lot of work done in these fights, but with the Butterfly coming up on Shadow Fiend, it's going to be pretty difficult for him.
Yeah, we've got an Assault Caress ready now on the Doom, and I just want to point out this Visage, because he is rich. He's only 1k gold behind on the puck. He's got an Aghanim Scepter, he's bought a gem for his team. He hasn't died yet a single time this game. He's been in 10 out of the 17 kills. Well, out of the 16 kills, I guess. One of them is a deny. But he is looking pretty fresh, I'd say.
Yeah, he's very wealthy. Some of that is just that Puck is doing so poorly. Scandal's been struggling and had to, like, try and initiate and make things happen for his team when the team fights started going the other way. But it's also Zizu doing very well on this Visage. And with that AC pickup, that's negative 11 armor aura.
Ouch.
Alchemist has 4.
That's gonna be so painful. I mean, BKB doesn't really can't matter anymore right now for Alchemist. If Shadow Fiend manages to hit him, that's gonna be Alchemist dying real quick. He needs to have something that he can, like, he needs to have his own Assault Grass. He's actually building for more damage items right now. Picked himself up, Demon's Edge. Oh, Zappin going for Silent. Can they get him down? In comes a Doom, no BKB for him, and picked off again once before. Nice Dream Coil though, but it's not enough. Buck will go down as well as Vanscore, and people buy back to try and save their support or their base. Sharfik might still get picked up, but he has an Aegis, so he'll be back up with full mana, full life in just a moment, and will be very hard to stop because of that. In comes the Silence. Nice timing for Scandal, and that might be just what they needed. Sharfik though still there. Now Zaps. Long zap towards his team that has already taken down a tier 3 tower and are now bashing on the Rex. Blinding Light will delay it for a second or so, but that's going to be Rex down. And that's going to be aSpera looking solid.
Yeah, it was a great fight by aSpera. They just run in, and with that initiation on Sharpik, it's exactly what I said. If Alchemist gets picked off, chain stunned, and then doomed before he gets his BKB off, he's just dead. That negative 11 armor is way too much for him to deal with. He went for the demon edge to get damage because he needs damage to be able to kill someone in this fight. But without going for something like AC to get that armor up, we kind of see the problem with Alchemist. He's a strength hero. He has no real base armor, and that makes it tough for him to fight against these heroes like Shadow Fiend, like the Doom with the AC.
Yeah, it's like grass that you still have a BKB that's still on for 10 seconds. You know, it's long. But if you're gonna get BKB'd or doomed every time, you're not gonna be able to pick up or use your BKB that you actually picked up. I mean, it's just really, really tough to take. He is gonna try to take down a tower, another one. And it looks like he'll get it. For sure, Puck actually stealing the last hit for that one. We have got some new items online though. We've got Nature's Prophet with a Scythe of Vice, so that might make a difference. If they can get a Hex on Doom before he dooms Alchemist, that will be a big win for them. Of course, hexing Storm Spirit is going to be big as well. Hexing Shadow Fiend is going to be big as well. It's really tough which one you're actually choosing to go for, as we have a Fiend's Grip up a Sharvik. That's going to help out a lot. Incoming Visitor, can he actually do something? The Mechanism will help out for sure. The Doom up a Scandal this time. Advanced Score goes down as well. Double kill for Inquisitor. And that's going to be Tier 2 Tower, the last one that was setting on the map on the top lane, dying as well as those two heroes. And that's going to free up the top lane for aSpera. And only Illuminate standing in between them and another set of Rex taken down. Or buybacks. That will help for sure.
Yeah, no buyback on Scandal though, so it's just going to be the one on the Bane.
Who doesn't have Fiend's Grip.
Right, it's not enough at all to stop this push. They can throw a lot of spells and try and slow them down, but they are going to lose their second set of racks here, and it's definitely less than ideal for Empire. Sharvik's still moving around.
Yeah, he's actually going here. Not just Bane, look at the damage coming off! Here comes the 10-second BKB. Silence using it to get towards the base. That's the only reason he used it. Nature's Prophet trying to do something on a tier 3 bottom in the meantime, but his Scythe of Vice is kind of needed on the counter push if they actually want to make a stand. I guess they knew that they weren't going to be able to make a stand, so in that case it's fair enough. But yeah, he is needed next time. There's gonna for the last set of Rex, they need him there.
Yeah, it was good by Empire. They managed to take down a lot of outer towers. The only one standing now is that tier 2 mid that lost like 3/4 of his HP, while aSpera was grouping up and pushing towards the top lane. But they give up their racks because they pretty much have to. Scandal gets picked off again with the Doom, and now they only have the exposed racks in that bottom lane with the tier 3 going down, and that's exactly where aSpera is going to be. So it's not particularly easy for them to split push it.
Not easy at all. Boots of Travel up on the Doom. We have got the Deadless being built up by the Shadow Fiend, who already has a Chrysalis. And we see Sharvik on the hunt. He's got that Infus Rune. Oh, hello, always wanna fly. Welcome. Nice Ghost Scepter you have there. Doom up on Vanskor. Vanskor dead as well. There's a 2 support remove gem on the floor, which is quite surprising. If Keeper of Light was actually carrying that gem around, then why did he not see Sharvik in his Invis Rune, right?
Was it Keeper of Light or was it Bane carrying it?
I think it was Keeper of Light.
Oh no,
he's
it
the
had
only
to be Keeper of Light.
yeah, he has the only one with an inventory slot. Zizu now has 2 gems though, because 2 eyes
One for
see
each
more
eye.
than one.
Exactly, 1 for each eye, so you can see twice as much invisible. This is pretty much over at this point. Silent's gonna stun himself. Oh, we get Sharvik, but they are gonna lose their last tier 3, and there's nothing they can do about it at this point. Nature's Prophet is still dodging these fights, and I don't think Mag is gonna be able to do anything. He's trying to
it's
split
mega
push.
creeps. Good luck split pushing up against mega creeps. There's just no way. I think we're gonna see GG here, and I think we now know why Storm got picked up, because Sharvik is really like fish in the water with this hero. He just plays it enormously well, even if he had a bad start. I mean, his start definitely wasn't something to write home about, and I mean, he's able to deal with it and just get back anyway, looking for kills constantly, with help of his team, of course. The GG is called. Empire, in their first game in StarSeries, they'll take the loss, and they'll move towards the bottom of the rankings, while aSpera win themselves another game in StarSeries. We are gonna see 2 different teams for our next matchup. It will be Virtus.pro taking on Power Rangers. Let's hope Power Rangers have got a bit less internet issues than they had yesterday, in which they kinda just, they were asking for a forfeit, they couldn't get it, so they ended up just feeding until they ended losing. And actually also not even, accidentally feeding, so that was kind of awkward. But we are gonna see another game. Empire aSpera was the first game of today, and we're gonna see Virtus.pro versus Power Rangers. So stick around, we'll be here right back with more Dota for you.